Good. All right, Coach, whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, not good enough. You know, got to coach better, got to lead better. Players need to play better. And, you know, simple enough. You know, I think execution can be better. You know, I think we dug ourselves a hole in the first half and against a really good football team that's got good personnel, that's well coached, that plays complementary ball. And but I will say that what I respect about that group of men in the locker room is that they really care. We've worked hard on getting to know each other, working together, playing this game the way that it's intended to be played, and that's for each other. I think we saw a little bit of that, challenged them at halftime, and certainly they responded the right way. We were able to get a score, create some takeaways, get it back to a game, but ultimately weren't able to, you know, do enough there to take advantage of some of the opportunities that we had. So it is what it is. I think the key here is that we continue to learn from our experience, that we continue to grow and develop the character of our team, that we improve as coaches, as leaders, and certainly continue to develop football players. But you know, this game is just that. It's a game, and the special thing about the game is who you do it with. And I gained a level of respect for that group in terms of how they responded at halftime. And that's what I would say that I respect the most. They care. They really do care. And I think today might have been a turning point to some degree relative to what is really in there, right? In your heart, in your soul, between your ears. I think there's some things that we can learn. But ton of respect for the football team that Georgia has. There's no hiding that. They've got a fantastic team, really good players, they're well coached. And certainly we learned a lot about what we need to do to get our program to where it can be competitive against a team like that. So what questions do we have?
We'll open with Edgar.
Yeah, Billy, building off that, you were talking about kind of the fight. Just how big is that just to the foundation of what you're going to do long term and when you're rebuilding?
It's the most important part. It's the most important part.
The two fourth down plays, do you feel like that kind of swung the game kind of firmly in Georgia's favor?
Yeah, I mean, it's a turnover, right? It's a turnover on downs. And turnovers affect the, you know, outcome of the game. So no different than them turning the ball over allowed us to get back in the game. You know, when we don't convert on fourth down, we turn the ball over to them. So, you know, we had our opportunities. We can coach better and we can play better.
What did you see on that, the fourth down you guys had early in the fourth quarter near midfield?
I just got done with a heck of a game. You would have to tell me specifically what fourth down you're talking about. There's a lot of them out there.
Richardson was under pressure by Carter from the middle, ran left, threw it away.
You're talking about at the very end of the game right out here?
No, early in the fourth quarter, 4th and 6, near midfield.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You know, we had individual matchup inside 88. You know, won an individual matchup there, created a pressure in the pocket. You know, ultimately got him out of his rhythm there and his progression. I think that specific play.
Mike Bianchi.
Yeah, Coach. Everybody knows you don't build a program in 1 year, and they've been recruiting at an elite level for 6 or 7 years. How important is it to replenish your roster with good recruits in the next 2 or 3 years?
I mean, evaluation and recruitment is always important. You know, I think that, you know, to go where we want to go, right? To win a SEC championship, to win a divisional championship, to win our conference, to win a national championship, you got to do it all really well, right? You got to evaluate, you got to recruit, you have to develop, you got to impact who they are as people, right? And those are all areas that we wake up every day and we work extremely hard at, right? So there's no question, evaluation and recruitment is very important.
Frank?
Billy, you got the score down to 28-20, and then they just kind of piled it on a little bit. Is it just a case of kind of giving out of gas after that you put so much effort into coming back?
I mean, was that a question?
Yeah, I was asking. Was
Yeah.
that?
Or it sounded like an answer to me. Right? No, I'm with you. Okay, I mean, we got it to one score, and they rushed the ball very effective in that possession and ended up scoring a touchdown to get it back to 2 scores, right? So, you know, we'll watch the film and we'll see lots of areas where we can do better, we can coach better and play better. But yes, they got the momentum back when they scored. And I think in that drive, they rushed the ball primarily after the quarterback had thrown a handful of interceptions.
Nick Delatorre?
You said that building that kind of resolve, I guess, and that toughness is the most important thing. How do you do that? And is that something that started maybe back in the spring? And just how far have you seen the team come from when you started to respond in the second half?
We got a lot of work left to do. You know, I think that you know, it was one of the things that the players felt like needed to improve. One of the things you do that I really believe in is you ask a lot of questions in the beginning, right? You know, where are we, right? What are the issues? What are the things that we need to resolve? And I think togetherness was one of those things, right? And you know, I think how hard you play is a reflection of what type of teammates you are, right? I firmly believe that, right? Like when you turn the tape on, if you're loafing, if there's a lack of effort on the film, then you're not a very good teammate, right? So I think you start there, right? But you know, I told the players in the locker room just now, as long as I'm coaching here, we're going to play this game for the people that we play it with, right? And I think that takes time to develop, right? But I think we're getting somewhere in that regard.
Can you share how did you challenge the team in the locker room halftime?
I mean, I just, you know, we walked into a locker room with a lot of disappointed players that were emotional, that care, that have passion, that want to do their job for the team. You know, there's an old war term called a foxhole guy, right? You know, a guy that you can trust, right? A guy that's loyal, a guy that you can turn your back from and know you can know that he's going to do what he's supposed to do, right? And you're doing the same thing on your side, right? So, you know, I think this game, I mean, there's no comparison military-wise, but I think there's some things that we can learn a lesson from relative to those intangibles.
Coach in the back?
Kirby, you talked about as an organization controlling what you need to control to get to where you guys want to be. How do you balance that in terms of self, but also knowing the team you just played is probably going to be someone that you're going to compete with for those goals?
Yeah, I mean, it was an 8-point game in the third quarter tonight. That's what I would tell you, you know. And, you know, it's reality, right? But it's one that we, you know, we took that challenge on, right? So back to work.
Alan Taylor?
The Bulldogs has these big numbers, but I think 79 came out of tip pass with Bernie's with him. Trey had tight coverage on a 50-50 ball. I mean, you feel like the defensive scheme was there. It's just a matter of him winning individual matchup.
Yeah, I mean, you guys watched the game. You know, I guess, you know, he's one of the best players in the country now, and probably one of the best players in the last how many years, right? So it's a unique matchup player. and they do a good job. You know, they got some other good ones out there too. It's not like you can just worry about him. So, you know, he's a really good player, and certainly tonight, you know, I thought our plan was effective to some degree.
Kevin Brockway.
The slow start on offense, what do you attribute it to in your mind?
You know, I think we're inefficient runs, you know, getting behind the sticks, you know, playing third and long against a group that can rush the passer. You know, I mean, got a handful of 3 and outs early there. You know, we dug ourselves a hole, and you know, I think we learned. Well, it's a good defensive group now, just so we all understand, right? It's not like it's a good defensive group. So,
I mean, were there any adjustments you think that were made in the second half that caused things to spring free compared to the first half?
yeah, I think so. I also think we ran some of the same plays and had success running them. You know, so this game is oftentimes not what you're doing, but how you're doing it, right? The precision and detail and synchronization of how you do things, right? So it's the best thing about the game is because it requires 11 players at a time, right? So sometimes when one player's not doing what he's supposed to do, it can affect the entire team.
Back to Mike Yankee.
Coach, growing up in Georgia, what are your memories of Coach Dooley? Did he have any impact on you when you were growing up or your career?
Well, I've heard his name my entire life, obviously. You know, I think Coach Dooley was a class act, right? He truly, he coached the game, but he also impacted people. And he was a lot more than a coach, right? If you really dig into Coach Dooley, while he was a coach and then after he was finished coaching. So, you know, a coach has an opportunity, and I think Coach Dooley took full advantage of his opportunity.
Back to Nick here.
With I think earlier this week you said, you know, obviously there might be a talent gap just based on.
I didn't say that.
Did you think that based on?
I didn't say that.
Okay. Do you think after watching the game today or being in the game today that there was a talent gap on either sideline?
It doesn't matter if there was a talent gap or not, right? It matters who played the best today, right? Who executed the best today, right? We didn't execute the best today.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.